and welcome to episode 90 of Draft Offsides. I'm with Tico and Enzo. My name is Keith. The season is officially over. Congratulations to all the champions out there. Congratulations to Tico on his first place in one of our leagues. Congratulations to Enzo on his second place in one of our leagues. Congratulations to me on third place in both of our leagues. We got some winners. We got people that placed across the board. We're happy. Okay, so the season's over. We're going to just maybe spend a few minutes recapping some of the games, and then it's just kind of talking about the future, I guess. And then maybe talking about some of, like, who are the top performers, what does that mean for the future, and all those things. So I think the thing I'm most interested and excited about is some of the new guys coming in, and so that begs the question, Florian Wirtz, if he comes into the league, where is he going in drafts?
I don't know. Because he was so good in Bundesliga. Who's come from Bundesliga to the league and like
Haaland. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of players have come and not done well. Kai Havertz,
especially players from Borussia Dortmund, mostly.
Sancho
or Leverkusen.
How's it not
Havertz?
No, I said Sancho.
Sancho struggled at Dortmund. Like Havertz and then Leipzig was, and then for Nkunku, there's been. I mean, I think it's been across the league. A lot of German players come and struggle here. A lot of
German league, not necessarily German players.
League, yes.
Mkhitaryan didn't capture the same form,
but Mkhitaryan is a different story because he clearly wasn't the issue.
Yeah,
well, you look at how good he's doing now for Inter.
It's just he went to Man U with Marino, which was a defensive.
It just wasn't the right fit.
But just looking at Wirtz's number the last 2 years under Xabi Alonso, 32 games, 11 goals, 31 games, 10 goals. So,
okay. How many assists though?
Let me pull that up.
There's a lot going on. There's like Villa not making Champions League has changed it up. Like they're not going to keep all the players.
Let's say focus on this Wirtz thing real quick.
12 assists and 11 assists, and each year he has 3 yellows. Each year, so I mean it's negative points, so he's not really going to be in trouble. So. And he's been playing 31, 32 matches. So I think Wirtz is going to have value. Obviously, we're thinking Nunez is going to be out of the squad, right? Darwin Nunez is probably going to be gone. Mm-hmm. I saw today, I don't know if you guys saw, Harvey Elliott's going to be gone as well. Mm-hmm. So you would think he's going to obviously play an attacking role. I think the goals and assists will be there. I think he would be close to a double-double in the first year. So I would say end of second round and early third. It's just,
whoa.
I mean, with those numbers, people who score double-doubles, they're averaging, like 10-plus points per game, 12, 13?
I'm thinking end of first.
Oh, you're even higher on that.
Yeah, I'm even higher.
To me, I love the Liverpool offense. Obviously, they put in a lot of goals. It's going to matter who's going to be playing their number 9. And I'm hesitant to take a player on the first year than, let's say, if there's someone who's a proven commodity.
That totally makes sense. I totally understand it. I think for me, it's when you look at the players, it's like obviously the first 6 are pretty, whatever order you want to put them, Saka, Salah, Bruno, Palmer, Haaland, Isak. After that, it's like you're getting into some weird territory. You're getting to like Mbeumo, Cunha.
It's literally like 100-point difference.
Both of which you could go to Man United. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, Jared Bowen, who I like, but is not the sexiest pick. Like, would you really fault anyone for going Florian Wirtz in the 7th?
You don't see that as a risk?
Oh, I think it's a huge risk, but I think there's a lot of upside there with this Liverpool team that has such good structure. The coaching system there, everything is so set in place. And I'm not saying I'm picking Wirtz 7 right now. I think we have still a lot of time, but I'm just saying that I think there's an argument to be made that he's like a late to middle late first rounder.
The world doesn't know this, but Keith's very high on Wirtz as a player. You love him as a player, right?
I'm not even saying I'm so high on him. I'm just looking at the pedigree. I'm looking at what he's done. I'm looking at the team he's coming into. Like, I wouldn't be this high on him if he came to Chelsea. I wouldn't be this high on him if he was at Man United. I think it's the fact that he's going to Liverpool, where they tend to make players better. Where a lot of other clubs in the Premier League don't make players better.
So why didn't you mention Tottenham in those?
Because they don't make players better.
Let me give you a couple of players. And let's see where you go from there. Also, just before I name this, it also matters what if he's classified as a forward or a defender. I'm sorry, midfielder.
I think he'll be a forward. I think he'll have to.
Be. Saka's a midfielder. So would you rather take Gordon or Wirtz?
I think I'd take Gordon. I think I'd take Wirtz.
Eze or Wirtz?
Yeah. I think because of the team, I think I would take Wirtz.
Well, what if Eze goes to freaking Man City?
Then there's questions about if he's going to play every game and every minute like he does at Crystal Palace. I think Eze is pretty tight for me. That's a tough one.
Man City, I'm probably going to try to stay away from Man City just because I don't want to go through that roller coaster unless you have the players that are going to play like a Haaland, right? All of us had a Man City player, so even if Eze goes there, you look at the competition there. Savio, Marmoush, Doku, Foden, what form is he going to be in? And they're probably going to bring in more players. So that's just a team that's going to be... It's not fun,
it's
man.
Gonna be a mess.
Waking up at 4 o'clock to see if Doku's playing over Savio, not fun, man.
No, it's not fun.
Yeah.
No, trust me. As someone who, like, you had Doku in one league, I had Savio in another league.
I had Doku
in another league.
Doku in 2 leagues.
Yeah, and you guys had Savio. So it's not fun. So I think Wirtz is going to be one who's... I wouldn't be surprised if people reach on him. I actually expect people to reach on him.
I think it will, and that's the thing, Tigos. I'm not saying it's not a reach. Like, I agree that it's probably a bit of a reach, but I think that's where he's going to end up going in drafts. Not necessarily that he's going to be worth it there, because I think there's a lot of uncertainty. But just an interesting thing to think about, especially a lot of time between now and then.
We should stick on Liverpool and think about Frimpong.
I was thinking about this a lot too, and I think for a lot of the same reasons about just adjusting to a new league and those types of things, I think it's tricky, and I think it's probably going to be third, late second, third maybe.
Just because of the attacking prowess and how.
Yes, I mean that's a really big part of it. I think part of it too is that. Like, I think there's a few defenders I'd rather take ahead of him, even though I think he's going to be really promising. And I think it's like, obviously I think like Munez and Robinson probably will go ahead of him. But I think that the other concern for me is that Trent wasn't as high up the pitch this year on his slot. Arnie Slot doesn't have his wingbacks kind of fly as much as Klopp did. They're not getting as high up the field. And that might change with Frimpong, but I also think that when you look at Frimpong, he's much more of a dribbler. He's not as much of a creator as Trent was. Trent was, the way his passing, and like they're two very different profiles. So I don't know. I just think that I don't know. Frimpong gets me a little nervous.
Okay. Kirkes, left back for Liverpool if he goes.
I
think
like
the same
it.
Thing?
I'm thinking 4th, 5th, 6th.
No, but I mean, you think the same thing that he won't go up as high like he did for Bournemouth because.
Well, I mean, I think he might. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
because if you're really going for both those wingbacks, like they're wingbacks, they're not right and left. They're going to be flying up and down those wings.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. But yeah, I mean, just having the opportunity to get high up the field is going to be there. I mean, Liverpool is also like they're going to get up there. I mean, look at that. Bradley got an assist in the second last game of the season where he was at the touchline, so they still get there. I'm just saying that when under Klopp, when it was Robertson and Trent, they were like playing like wing backs, and they weren't wing backs. They were, so it is different.
But they also, I mean, last year under Klopp, they gave up 41 goals. This year they gave up, again, 41 goals.
That is interesting. Yeah. It's a good point. I thought that they would have had a better defensive record this year. But also, I mean,
they locked up the league early, and I think the last few games they gave up like few.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. All right, next big sign. Where's Delap going?
It's looking like Chelsea.
Looking at Chelsea.
I think United not getting Champions League hurt that opportunity for them. I don't know how I feel about it for Chelsea, though, to be honest. I'd rather have like a little more of an established guy as opposed to having like Jackson and Delap. Just feels like that could be a comedy routine.
You think so? I like Delap. I think he could work.
I mean, I like both of them. I'm just saying that like having two young guys, I think I'd rather have like a little more of a senior striker, proven goal scorer in there, and then like a Jackson who's still young. Jackson's only 23. He's still young,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Delap's obviously going to be coming off the bench, but to be honest, he ain't going to start if he goes there.
Over Jackson?
Yeah, he won't start over Jackson.
I think it'll be competitive. I think if Jackson starts, I think if Jackson has a few games where he doesn't score, I think Delap will be in. I think that's what Jackson lacked, was having someone like looking over his shoulder, and having.
I think there's a lot of things Jackson likes.
Got to go today in the final. We didn't even talk about the fact that Chelsea won a final today.
4-1 too. Went down 1-0 early, a little bit shaky, and then boom, the goals started flooding in, especially late.
It was a good day. It was a good day.
Happy for the London teams.
Yeah, big year for all the top London teams.
Yeah, Arsenal beat Real Madrid.
That's their trophy.
But they did
Okay.
still have a better season than us. So
I don't think you can say that.
I'm
They had a better
being
season.
sarcastic.
Okay. Is that all the Arsenal fans are arguing that, right?
It's funny because I can say this right now. When Tottenham was coming top 4 year after year and not winning anything, and Arsenal kept saying, well, you haven't won anything, you had a shit season. And now we've come 17th, which is, don't get me wrong, fucking horrible, but we've won a cup. Now the European Cup doesn't mean shit. So that's
No,
all
of
I've heard.
course. I mean, but that's how just fans are going to be. Like, I think it's just funny because Arsenal fans have been so kind of like harshing on Tottenham for so long, and then to have it flip, you just got to be able to take it on the chin.
Sergey put in the chat that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just like the denial is a little annoying. Just take it on the chin. Like you've been clowning on Tottenham fans for years. You got to be able to take it on the chin when you.
Completely fine.
Even did you guys see Thierry Henry came out and said Arsenal under.
Is it time to start thinking about a change? But
did he really?
Yeah, he said it. He said it
on what's it? What's that? Something football with Gary? Not Gary. With Gary, yeah, Gary Neville and Roy Keane. Was it on that show?
I just saw the quote. I didn't see.
I mean, so what? 7 years. He got a trophy in his first year and hasn't gotten one since.
Yeah.
Pep? I mean, not Pep.
But they finished. They finished second 3 years in a row, which shows they're compared.
No, I mean it's obviously a great team. Like
yeah,
they need
such
a good team.
Fucking striker. Been saying it for 2 years for sure.
I think they're one of only 3 teams that didn't have a player to score in double-digit goals.
Mm-hmm. That is true. You know who their highest scorer was?
Saka, 9 goals.
Kai Havertz.
Havertz? Oh.
Yeah, and it was 9. I think Saka had like 8 or 7. All right, so sorry, that was a few little fun questions at the beginning. Let's just talk about game week 38 real quick. There's not. I mean, obviously we're past it now, and we don't need to like relive the past. I think there were some big moments, and those moments were mostly for the top 4 finishes. So it was the Chelsea beating Forest, Newcastle losing and still getting through. That Man U game with Villa, just really sad for Villa. You feel for him, right? You can't help but feel for Villa.
It should have been VAR, man. VAR fucked. The
ref fucked it up.
Sorry, the ref fucked it up. Didn't give VAR a chance.
Yeah, because he blew his whistle before.
Mm-hmm. You guys didn't think it was a red?
Oh, no. That was a red.
That was a red. Talking about the goal
for the Rodgers?
Yeah. Really, really sad. But now we're looking at 6 teams in Europe or in Champions League next year.
Oh, 6?
In Champions League next year.
Yeah, 6 teams in Champions League next year.
And then 2 teams in Europa and then 1 in conference. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of teams that can potentially have a lot of games. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Will that affect your drafting at all?
Well,
like in the back of your mind, if you're choosing between a guy that has European football and the guy who doesn't,
it's like you really got to think about it. So I was thinking about Villa and how they didn't get Champions League. Are they going to still invest? I think they should still invest because I think they want to compete for top 4, top 5, wherever it might be next season. And do they keep one or the other, or do they keep both of Rashford and Asensio? You know
I think it's not a matter of if they will, it's can they invest because of PSR and because of those things. I think that's going to be the bigger question. You know,
we know what the money difference is between Champions League and Europa. Is there a big money difference?
Champions League and Europa,
like the money you get from playing in those tournaments,
like insane.
Is it an insane amount?
Insane amount. Was it so? United got 5.5 million for runners up in Europa League, which is like pennies.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's pennies.
Yeah.
So, like the Club World Cup that's happening, you know, in a month, that purse, like the first place gets like 50 million for that.
Fucking hell.
That's going to be a huge deal. Like this Club World Cup, I think it's going to become a bigger thing because there's so much prize money involved.
I still don't like it.
So
I like the idea of it. It's just too many games, right? We agree. Yeah.
This is off of Reddit. So competing in the group stage, minimum earnings for Champions League, it's 8.6 million. Europa is 1.3.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then obviously the more you play, the better it is. Like even like let's say the overall winner, one is 10.5 million. The other one is just 5 million.
And that's just the prize money. You have to think about like sponsorships, like Chelsea having like holding off on getting a front of jersey sponsor until they're in Champions League, so then they can get a
TV
better,
revenue, gate attendance, you know.
Yeah. So that's just so it ends up ballooning to.
But Keith, to answer your question, it does make a difference for me, especially when let's look at this year, for example, right? Arsenal played in the Champions League. Obviously, they made a deep run towards the end of the year when they gave up on the Premier League. You didn't know they were resting a lot of their players. So it does factor in, but I think if there's a player that they're close to each other, I think I would probably go the one that's not in the European, but at the same time, like you're not going to pass up on like someone who's an amazing player just because they're playing in Europe.
Yeah, so it's more like a tiebreaker as opposed to something it's really going to stop you from.
I think if I'm 50-50 between two players, that would be the tiebreaker.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's look at some of the top performers of the season. Mohamed Salah, 734.25 points.
No.
That is insane. That's 150 more than the next closest in Brian Mbeumo with 581.75. That is, I mean, Salah almost broke fantasy this year.
He tied Alan Shearer and was it Andy Cole's record for goal involvements?
Do you guys think he kind of messed up because the last few games he wasn't scoring a lot? He could have broken that record.
Well, from what you guys are, especially what you were saying, Tico, he wants to beat the record. He just couldn't do it because it just like you said, they won the league and they just looked like they just.
He started all 38 Premier League games
because in the last 6 games he only had 2 goals, no assists.
I mean, even he's human. Is going to have a little bit of a downturn. Mo Salah, first place, 734 points. And then from forwards, Brian Mbeumo, 581.75. Cunha, 471.75. Isak, 464.25. And then Semenyo, 432.5. Semenyo.
That is the surprise.
I mean, I think Mbeumo and Semenyo are the two. Mbeumo went in the 4th, 5th round. Semenyo went like in the 8th round. But where they're placing, that's phenomenal.
Yep.
You're so happy. But it'll be interesting because of these 5 attackers, 3 of them might be moving clubs.
Well, he is already at Man United.
Yeah, so Cunha's probably, I think it's all but officially confirmed.
But Isak's not going nowhere. They got Champions League football.
Isak's not going anywhere. Salah's not going anywhere, obviously. Semenyo, there's rumors that he might go somewhere. Mbeumo, I mean, did you hear the rumors about United?
Yeah, I heard.
Could you really see them getting Mbeumo and Cunha?
Yeah, I could. If they got rid of, Rashford, Garnacho goes, they're going to need cover. And if they do sell Bruno Fernandes to Saudi League, they're going to need him.
Okay, so here's my question then. If Mbeumo and Cunha both go to United, are we really being serious about potentially drafting 4 United players in the first 15 picks?
I don't know.
That to me feels crazy. Like let's draft 4 players from the 15th best team last year. It's obviously new players, new thing, but it just feels like a crazy.
But there are some teams who are not good teams, but their players are fantasy studs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I agree with that. Amarin had a terrible season this season, but he also only has 1 player in Dorgu that's the player he bought. So this will be 2 players he buys for his tactics. Diallo, I think if he just plays every single game this year, I think Diallo's going to be up there in first and second round, whoever wants to, if you're a Man United fan. So they could have a better team offensively. It's not the offense that I'm too worried about from these moves. If they make these moves, it's still going to be the defense.
Their defense was better. I think their defense got better as the season went on and as Amarin made it, but it was they were not scoring. It was the offense that was the problem.
Yeah, but Lindelof is going to be gone. He's out of contract. Eriksen's obviously going to be gone. These aren't going to play. No, I'm just saying though that the void he's going to have to fill with the players that he's losing, that they're not re-signing, and the players are going to sell. He has he's going to have some money to spend. I don't know how much, but it ain't going to be as much as it would have been if he had Champions League.
And they have a lot of defenders.
They have a lot of defenders.
Yeah, but Maguire, who wants him?
They want him.
Oh,
they should keep Maguire.
I fucking hate Maguire.
They should absolutely keep Maguire.
Mazraoui, Delap.
That's right.
Martinez is probably
Lenny Yoro.
Yoro's the low. I mean, Luke Shaw is still around.
Yeah,
I think it's for them. It's getting rid of all the deadwood. Like getting if you get Casemiro on 350,000 a week. For what he does, it's just not good enough. He's not good enough for that money he's getting paid right now. And at this stage of his career, obviously, he's a legend.
He got called out for Brazil.
Yeah, saw that. All right, refocusing. Are we worried about Haaland at all? Just with the last few years, he's been missing a few games. He hasn't been as dominant since that very first year. He just hasn't been as dominant.
He's also out for quite a bit, man. I know when he played, the only thing that I think was going to happen is Man City is going to bounce back. I don't think they still came They still came third? Oh no, they came fourth? Third?
Yeah.
They still came third. And this is seen as a shitty season for him.
Only 3 points behind Arsenal. So let's recap Haaland's 3 years. This is his worst year. 22 goals, 3 assists, played 31 games, averaged 14 points a game. That's first round numbers.
It's first round numbers.
It's definitely first round numbers. So you're saying even in a bad year,
it's just we got spoiled on his first year. It's simple as that.
And his second year, perfectly honest.
Yeah, 16 points out of 16, yeah.
So I'm not worried about Haaland. I'm not worried about City. City has what? Money and lawyers. So they can spend wherever the hell they want, and they can build this team to what they want. Pep's going to do he's going to buy some players. I don't know who he's going to buy, but there's going to be a bunch of players he's going to buy to try to fill in the void, and some of them will work and some of them won't.
Well, Pep said that he doesn't want a team with like 20-something players.
Yeah. Okay. Bullshit. We'll see. I'm not worried about Haaland. He'll be good next season. He's still top 3.
I mean, he was ranked 9th overall.
Yeah.
In total points. Yeah.
Yeah. But
okay, but I think here's my thing is that when you look at points per start, and so we're which accounts for the fact that he had, the matches and everything, like, that he didn't play as many matches. There is Mohamed Salah scored more points per start than him. Bukayo Saka scored more points. Cole Palmer, Cunha, KDB, Brian Mbeumo, Diallo, Bruno Fernandes.
All right. So next year, who would you take over Haaland if you're drafting? Because I would only take Saka over him. I wouldn't take Bruno over him. I wouldn't take Cunha over him.
Mo Salah.
I wouldn't take Cole Palmer.
I would take Mo Salah over him.
Okay, Mo Salah.
Sure.
Would you?
I would take Cole Palmer. I would take Cole Palmer.
You take Cole Palmer over Haaland?
Yeah.
Is that your Chelsea bias, or are you being serious?
I think it's midfield. I think just Cole Palmer being in a position where he's going to create more goals and assists and just has more chances to score points that aren't goal dependent. So I think his floor to ceiling is going to be better. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm looking at it, and yeah, Cole Palmer had 564 points, and then he had a down part of his back end of the season. So I see it, but it's proving that forwards, for the most part, score more
points. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, maybe not. Maybe if when push came to shove, I think it'd be hard not to. If Haaland's sitting there, it'd be hard not to take him.
And also think about the fact that Cole Palmer, who was ranked 3rd overall, they didn't play in the European. In the conference championship.
And he didn't play in those, yeah.
Yeah, in the group stage, the first early on in the knockout stages, they were playing their B, C squad, whereas Haaland was playing Europe as well. Make sure Cole Palmer is obviously going to be playing in the European matches as well. And because whether his body fatigue, whatever happened, he didn't hold off throughout the year, Haaland is better suited to hold on throughout the year because of just the experience of him doing it for 3-4 years.
Yeah, but Haaland's always had a little bit of injury issues. That was a big issue at Dortmund. And then obviously his first year at City, he was healthy the whole time. But since then, we've seen little niggles. So it makes me a little nervous.
Well, this third season was probably the biggest one. The second season, that was little niggles. This season, it was a big chunk.
It was a big chunk, yeah. Okay, are there any... Okay, I guess the last question I have for forwards before we move on to midfielders is Semenyo. Where do you see him going? Just obviously right now, obviously subject to change. I'll hold you to it. But is he scored 5th overall for forwards in points? Is that, then what was he? And then overall from a scoring standpoint, he was top 10, 9th overall. Where do you see him? Is that second round? I mean, the second round's getting pretty crowded.
The second round's getting really crowded. But it all depends on where he goes. We've seen it before where players from like mid-table teams.
Let's say he stays at Bournemouth.
If he stays, what do you think?
And Ariola stays.
Late second? He had that good of a season.
The fear is that it's. I mean, he had a good last season. He had a pretty good last season too. I think he was kind of disrespected last year when he was going to draft.
What was the difference this season compared to the season before?
So I have it pulled up. So the year before, he averaged 8.9 for 294 points, but he only started 25 out of the 33 games. Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing to me about Semenyo is last year he scored 8 goals and 3 assists. This year he scored 11 goals and 5 assists. So the contribution went up by 5 points, but he scored a lot more points. So he's not really goal or assist dependent. It's just can he repeat that season? So to me, I wouldn't take him in the first round. To me, he's
in the second round. You wouldn't take him in the second.
No,
round?
To me, he's a 3rd round player.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Moving on. Let's talk midfielders. Mm-hmm. Number 1 midfielder overall, Cole Palmer with 564.25 points. I think we talk about it a lot, but it's easy to forget that how good of the first half of the season was for him.
Yeah.
Like how bad his second half was, and the fact that he still finished first is pretty impressive. I think he had 19 goal contributions by the end of December, goals and assists. And then he had 6 from January on.
Yeah. It's rough.
That's rough.
Still a good season, though.
Still a good season, of course. Number 2, Bruno Fernandes, 503.5. Number 3, Jared Bowen, 438.75. That's pretty big. So Cole and Bruno, and then it's a pretty big drop off to Jared Bowen.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a 70-point drop off, 75-point drop off between second and third. Number 4, Alex Iwobi, 400.5. Again, another little bit of a drop off, almost a 40-point drop off. And then 5 as a 399.
So to me, what's interesting about the difference between forwards and midfielders, when you look at the forwards' top 3 total points and points per game, they're the same players. But when we look at midfielders, it's only top 2. And then you look at Saka, who came in third in points per game, but obviously he was injured. Diallo, points per game, he averaged higher. And then Bowen was 5th. So I think if everyone healthy, the top 5 is going to look a lot different. And to me, I think we talked about if Man U gets Cunha and Mbeumo. I don't know if Bruno's value goes up or goes down. To me,
I've been thinking about this a lot because then it's like if they get both of those guys, it might already be guaranteed. Like we don't know because we've been seeing it, but Bruno's been playing in the 6 a lot more, and it's not the worst thing ever. Like he can be that kind of like that quarterback, that like deep line playmaker, but he's just not as close to goal. So he's just not going to get as many goal assist opportunities when he's not as close to goal. Yeah, he's not crashing the box. He's not making as many late runs because he has different responsibilities in the team.
We don't even know if that's going to be his role next season. I know he played a lot of in the 6 because I don't think he really had a choice.
Yeah.
But it all depends on who comes in. But Bruno's a stud. I don't think it doesn't matter where you put him in the midfield.
I think wherever you put him, he's going to be really good. It's just a matter of, is he going to be top 4 good or is he going to be like top 10 good?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good point too. I mean, obviously Saka, the injury puts that out. I think he would have probably been up there with close to Cole Palmer numbers.
Agreed.
So, and then just real quick on Bruno, when we look at the last 3 years, this was his lowest year and he had shots on goal at 29. So team is not as offensive. The forwards are not as good. But at the same time, like his assist numbers might go up. If you look at if they had a better striker instead of like Xerxes and Højlund, he might have had more more assists.
You know who the players with the most chances created are in the Premier League?
No.
Bruno, Cole Palmer? No.
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, Cole Palmer, yeah.
Yep. Oh. Oops. So but I'm a little nervous about where he's going to be playing next year. Is he going to be playing in the wingback position? Is that his best position? Are you really going to draft a wingback in the end of the second or the beginning of the second? Like that to me doesn't feel great.
But have you seen what he does in that wingback role? He beats players. Like he eats them up for dinner. Like when he's on his day, he can beat any player on that right hand side, and then he creates too. He has to get better. Am I saying he's going to get better? I don't know. He's still young. He's a kid. But 13.06 points per start, and if he starts 36 plus games, that's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. It just makes me a little nervous. I think the uncertainty of who he's playing with and what his role is just makes me a little nervous. But you're not wrong.
I think his fantasy numbers looked a lot better with Amarin. But then again, he didn't play a lot under Ten Hag. Yeah.
No, that's very true. Okay, next question. Iwobi. This is about the highest that Iwobi's going to get. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Bad way. No.
Yeah. I think this is just like, where do you really go from here if you're him? Like, what else is there? So then, like, I'm not drafting him. I'm not thinking, I'm going to get him in the second round. No. I think, But, like, if he drops to the 4th, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah.
I think it's not a sexy name.
It's not sexy at all. It's so unsexy.
Still a good pick in the, maybe not even the 4th, maybe the 5th.
Maybe if he's still there. Yeah. I think it just really depends on how smart people are in your league. I think in that frame, that 3rd, 4th, whatever area, people are still hoping to get superstars that are going to win him a league. And sometimes it's hard to settle for the guy that's going to just do enough for you.
He's also probably going to go to the African Cup of Nations. So
yes, that is very true. And that's something we should be thinking about. And that's something when I was thinking about Salah, that's probably why I would take Saka over Salah as the one. I think that was the deciding factor for me. Age, all these other factors, but I think that AFCON is a big part of it. And then Eberechi Eze, he's right there, 399. Like their second half of the season was so much better. If they play like they did in the second half of the season, the whole season, that number goes up.
I know Palace as a team played better, but Eze as a player played better in the second half because he was non-existent that first half. If you had drafted him, you were saying, "What the fuck is going on?" We thought that he was missing Elise because Elise is tearing up in Munich right now. But Eze in the second half, he came alive.
Figured it out.
Yeah, he figured it out.
I guess the biggest concern with Eze is if he's going to stay at Palace.
Yeah.
If he goes somewhere. I think I just can't think of a lot of places where he goes that I'm happy about from a fantasy standpoint. Like Tottenham, maybe I'd be happy because I think he'd get a lot of playing time at Tottenham.
He would.
But like if he goes to City, I'm just not happy about him because of the same concerns we've had with a lot of these players.
Yeah.
You know. And then I don't know. I mean, then there's also a chance he goes to Bayern Munich and we never see him again. Yep. He just disappears. He just evaporates like smoke from our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are kind of the top midfield guys that we're going through. Now let's talk defenders. Number 1 ranked defender, one of my favorite guys, who I didn't have any league, but I still love, is Daniel Munez, 457.5 points. Mm-hmm. Number 2 in total points, Anthony Robinson, 420.75.
America. Number
3, yes, America. Trent Alexander-Arnold, 389.5. Number 4, Nathan Collins, 382, solid. Number 5, Virgil van Dijk, 380. So kind of just a little bit like the points per game shifts a little. It's Munez, Trent, Robinson, Tarkowski, Pedro Porro. So just kind of keeping that in mind too. So those, on a points per game basis, those are the top guys.
I gotta say though, like out of all of them, like Trent didn't pay that much, but points per game, like all those players besides maybe James Tarkowski for a while weren't getting clean sheet points.
Yeah, and you're not wrong.
They weren't getting clean sheet points, and that was something I'd look at with defenders because clean sheets is huge. That's 6 points for a clean sheet.
I'm almost like it's so hard to predict clean sheets that I'm almost I used to think about that a lot too, Enzo, but now I'm almost like I don't know who's gonna have a good defense this year. It's like sometimes it's hard to predict things like that, and sometimes you almost got to think about the opposite. Like, are they gonna? Maybe you should, like, when you look at the most consistent defenders over the last few years, it's been attacking defenders. It's been Trent. It's been Kieran Trippier. It's been guys like that are getting points elsewhere, so that aren't dependent on clean sheet points to get them, where they want to be.
It's just crazy because out of all those, I think it's Robertson was the only one not to score a goal.
He didn't score a goal?
No, 0 goals, 10 assists in the Premier League.
Double-digit assists. That's pretty good. I think the most amazing thing is Daniel Muniz. Just what a season! What an unbelievable season!
4 goals and 5 assists from defense.
Robinson has never scored a goal in the EPL.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's crazy.
So Muniz, I'm surprised he doesn't have more numbers. Only 4 goals, 5 assists.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this would be a little bit higher, to be honest with you.
So this is what I would say on drafting defenders. So we talked about the draft, what position you want to focus on. We clearly saw forward is where all the highest scoring points are. When you look at the top 5 defenders, only 2 of them will be ranked in top 5 midfielders, surpass their points, and only 1 of them would be in the top 5 forwards. Drafting early for defenders, I think you're reaching, and then throughout the year, you could play the matchups on defenders, and you could see who actually has a good defense. So you don't want to waste draft capital in the first 4, 5, maybe even 6 rounds. At least for me, I wouldn't, unless, I don't know, like, there's like a stud available and there's no one else on the board.
I completely agree with Tico, and that's rare for me to do with you. But yeah, defenders, I think you are reaching. You're right. Is Daniel Muniz going to have another season like this? Is Robinson going to have another 10 assists next season? We don't know. But like you said, just the facts are in the numbers. And I think if you go back in the last couple of seasons, even with the 1 goal being not minus wherever it is, it helped them with points, but they still didn't break into like that top 10, top 20, like consistently all the defense. Like, you're right. I think 6th round is as early as you should go for a defender. So, even if it is
6th round, I don't know. No, absolutely not.
No,
these guys are going to go. These guys are going to go higher. I hear you guys. I think you're right, and I think it's keeping that in mind. And even like drafting Trent in the 2nd this year, like it kind of hurt. Like there are players I could have gotten, but what it gives you is it gives you positional advantage. So if you think you can find a mid off waivers, you think you can find a forward off waivers, but you have an elite defense. Like Enzo, how many games did you win because of your defense this year?
Well, yeah, but none of those were like top. Because I've got Robinson off you, but before I got Robinson, it was like Young, Murillo, who's not even in the top 5.
So look, Keith. So Tarkowski, who was ranked top 5 in points per game, drafted in the 7th round. Robinson, who was ranked 2nd overall, drafted in the 2nd round. Guess where Munoz was drafted?
Like 6th round.
He was not drafted.
No, yes, he was. Munez was drafted.
I'm looking at our draft right now.
I know for a fact he was drafted.
I'm looking at the draft right now.
You're wrong. You're missing him on the thing.
I'm literally doing Control F and typing Munoz.
I know for a fact he was drafted.
Sergey said he drafted him. Oh, yeah, 6th round. My bad. I'll take the L on that.
That's all right.
Again, still 6th round. Yeah. So if he draft, also Sergey didn't draft him. It was Obi-Wan Kobe drafted him.
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. But no, I hear what you're saying. But okay. So 6th round is. I think it's like maybe it's not 2nd round.
Yeah, it's not 2nd round.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's 3rd round. Maybe it's 4th round.
But I hear what you're saying for position. But I feel like that's a mistake that some of us have made before. Maybe not in the earlier rounds, but the later rounds where we're trying to fill the positions to make sure we have a full first team instead of having more depth. And I think what Tico's saying is that, and I think it's the same. It's not entirely the same for goalkeepers. Goalkeepers, I don't think you even have to draft unless you get like a top 5 goalkeeper and you get them late. You don't have to draft a defender so early because you could, like you just said, matchups. Like, who are they playing against? Are they playing against Leeds or freaking Sunderland or Burnley, and they're going to get a clean sheet? You know what I mean?
I hear you guys. I hear you guys.
I'm gonna give you guys a little preview of my draft strategy.
I'm
not gonna look at positions. If I have 3 forwards and I see another forward that's on there, I'll draft another forward, and then I'll use one of those to trade for a defender after a month into the season where I know who's performing where. So I know you need to fill the positions, but doesn't necessarily mean you have to pass up on a better player, fantasy player, to just draft a defender for the sake of having a defender.
I told Tico that.
Suck it.
I think that's smart. I think that works. I think the one thing I will say is that I'm just repeating myself, but just when you're looking at we have a new crop of defenders coming up because Trippier's not there anymore, really. He's not at the level. Trent's gone. Those are the guys who are kind of the elite. And the question is Muniz and Robinson and then potentially Frimpong, are they going to become, and potentially Kirkaz, maybe not, but could we see them reach elite levels? I don't know. And that question is probably not, but then it's is it still worth it having just the best player in a position?
So the players that we look at that might reach those numbers, be elite defenders, over 12 points. I would say Gvardiol, and someone else who's been a big disappointment, Calafiori, because he was injured, but whenever he played, he put up goals, assists, and he would get clean sheets as well. So that's Calafiori is the one that I would gamble on.
So you're not looking at the guys that have done well last year. You're looking at guys that maybe underperformed, quote unquote, a little bit, that you think then could reach that level.
From this list,
that's more your strategy.
The only person that Munoz is the only one that I like. You know what? I'm gonna draft him.
Mm-hmm. I thought Munoz finished 7th overall in points, total points.
I think so. Yeah, he was top 10.
Something like that. Yeah, he was. So I'm just saying, you can't say that that's not pretty damn good.
But you can't also bet on him to score 4 goals.
I think 4 is okay. I think that's for a wingback, someone who's going to be getting up and down the way that he gets up and down the field. I feel like 4 is doable. I'm not saying, I think it's. I don't think it was like Ollie Watkins last year where you felt like he was so overperforming. I'd be curious to see what his XG was. Was he overperforming his XG?
Well, last year when he played for Crystal Palace, it was his first year. He only played 16 games, 0 goals, 4 assists, and he averaged 11.3. So that's 2 years in a row he's been putting up good value. I think Munoz would be the new Trent Trippier, but obviously not at the level they were doing it.
Yes. Yeah, it's worth. It'll be interesting. I don't think he'll be there in the 4th.
No, another player that might be interesting, depending on if they leave or not. If Porro leaves Tottenham, Jed Spence.
Yeah, later rounds.
Yeah, not anything early, but he could be a diamond in the rough.
Do you think Nathan Collins will just kind of fade into, who knows?
Well, he's had 2 years of.
He was good. He's been 2 years.
Yes, good years. What was he last year, Tico? Can you have a look, please? Because I remember us talking about Nathan Collins last year.
He finished 17 this year, and last year he averaged 7.2 points per game. So
he must have started every game then, huh?
Yeah.
To finish in the top. But yeah. So defenders, it's interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see where they go. I think losing Trent, Trippier fading has just putting an interesting thing in. I've said it a few times, but I think this draft is going to be pretty nasty.
We got to think of some of these, like Livramento too is going to be a big one. I feel next season for Newcastle.
It's going to be bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
Lewis Hall,
Miles Lewis Skelly.
More names.
Ben White.
Does he get changed?
Ben White?
Fuck off.
Timber?
Does Lewis Skelly get defined as a defender?
Maybe. What about Reece James?
If he's fit? That's a big if, brother. That is a big if.
He played more games this season than he has the last two combined, I think.
That's not saying much.
Or maybe not exactly.
No, he played close. 19
in the Premier League, but I think in
overall.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we even have to go through goalkeepers?
Just talk goalkeepers real quickly. Flecken a 380.5, Pickford 349, Sells 331.5, Raya 305.25, Sanchez 302. When was the first keeper drafted in our league? It was probably too early. I think no matter what, keepers go too early.
Alisson. It was Alisson in the 8th round and on the 5th pick. Then Onana. Then I picked him. I'm looking at the wrong league.
It was Onana 8-8, Alisson 9-8.
I'm looking at the wrong league.
And Raya 11, Pickford 11. So I think the biggest thing with them is you're gonna hold. But I think the one takeaway for me is when you look at these keepers, Flecken, Pickford, and like Sells, and then Sanchez. None of those are Alisson or Onana. None of those are Ederson. It's like that the elite teams, or like the elite keepers don't necessarily like translate for fantasy.
Well, mostly because elite keepers are on getting much better teams, so they don't get not a lot of saves. But Flecken, I don't know if you guys saw, is on his way out by Leverkusen.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Emilio Martinez is on his way out too.
He's on his way out. So I think and then Nick Pope is one who's been consistent for the last 3-4 years, who obviously got hurt this year.
Mm-hmm.
Him, Pickford, and Raya the last year and a half have been pretty consistent.
I think Pickford will be back up there again next year, the way Moyes is playing.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I think Matt Sells, we'll see what happens there. I think that might be a bit of flash in the pan. Yeah, and I think just keeper doesn't matter that much. Draft it late. Yeah. I think Flecken went undrafted in our league. I picked him up in I don't think I drafted a keeper. I think my strategy is to not draft a keeper.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys? I did that last year, right? I'm pretty sure I did that.
You do that last year?
Yeah, I did. Oh, I drafted a keeper in the last round. I drafted Ederson. In the 16th round. But I think in our other league, in our Fantasy Bros, I don't think I drafted a keeper. Yeah, I didn't draft a keeper in Fantasy Bros. Because for that reason, I think that you can there's enough talent out there, you can kind of assess as you get tighter to the season. But if you want a guy also, get him late. Don't reach,
I think there's only maybe 3 or 4 keepers that you just put them in the starting lineup. You don't worry about matchups. I would say Raya, Pope, someone else, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But those are like the 2 people. So just fucking Aaron Ramsdale, average 8.1 points per game.
Yeah, solid. Okay, Enzo, you got to go?
I got to go in like 13 minutes.
Oh, 13. Yeah, that's fine. I think the last thing we wanted to chat is maybe some of these guys, our first year in the EPL guys. And let's I'm going to go through these and tell me if you think they're going to get better. Okay, I think it might be yes for all of them, but who knows? First year in the EPL, Jorgen Strand Larsen, Wolves forward, scored 300.8 points, 8.6 points per game. Do you think he gets better or worse?
No Cunha to help him out.
No Cunha.
Yeah, I think pretty similar.
You think it'll be pretty similar?
Yeah.
Vio, 238.75 points, 9.78 points per game.
More game time means he gets better.
If he plays, he's better. If he doesn't, then
yeah. I think there was a period where he was playing every game for a while there.
He started off starting, yeah,
and he looked so good.
And then for a lot of the season he was starting, but then all of a sudden, Pep just like the last month and a half of the season, Pep decided he was done with them.
Like,
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Be gone.
Had a fucking tantrum.
Minta, 274 points at 8.6 points per game.
He looks so good.
I love watching him.
I like watching him. He's a fucking old school baller. Just runs at defenders. Yeah. Doesn't give a fuck.
I think it's the same issue as Savio's playing time, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And
because they got so many role players.
Yeah. It's like there's a bespoke formation for every team they play against.
I think he gets better.
What did you say?
I think he gets better.
You think he gets better?
Yeah.
What about Evan Nielsen? 267.25 points, 8.62 points per game. He suffered a pretty bad injury midway through the season and missed 2 to 3 months. Do you guys think he gets better?
I mean, is he going to create 4 penalties a game?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is he going to do that? I don't know.
I think he's going to be a solid but not spectacular player in his Premier League career.
Yeah.
I think it's also very team dependent. Like I think if Areola stays at Bournemouth, I'll draft him. I'll like him. I'll be excited about him. If Areola goes, I don't know because I feel like he's such a scrappy scorer. You know, he does certain things really well, but he does other things. I just don't think he's that great. So it's at other things. So I kind of feel like it's really dependent on the situation.
All right.
Fair?
Yeah.
Mazraoui, 259.3 points, 7 points per game.
Forgot about him at Man United. Better. Has to do better. Has to do better.
Oof.
I think Amarin gets 10 games, fired, and no manager comes in and he has a fucking outstanding second half.
Was Mazraoui brought in to be a wingback or a center back? Because he's been playing a lot of center back for them.
He was brought in to be a right back, but that was under Ten Hag. So
I don't know about that one. That one question marks for me. Mohamed El Khanous from Leicester, 213.8, 6.7 points per game. He had a good end of the season, so people remember that. But he was pretty. There's some really dark periods.
I think he's
And who knows if he even stays in the league.
He got demoted, so yeah.
But someone might pick him up, but not likely. Okay, Mikel Merino, 215.25 points, 7.69 points per game. The whole striker experiment was interesting.
Yeah, but I think that's why his points went up because he scored a few goals.
I don't think I think people are going to reach on him. He's going to be a disappointment next year.
Yeah, disappointment. No one's going to spend 50 fab on him. So.
No one spent 50 fab on him.
How much you spend on him?
Spent 30 fab on him.
That's still too much.
Oh, it's 29 too much.
But at the time, he had two collarbones. He had both his collarbones intact when I spent the money on him. Yeah, then a day later, he no longer had both his collarbones intact. Number 8, Delap, 197.25 at 6.8 points per game.
I don't think he plays a lot.
I don't think he plays a lot either.
What is up with him? He was the most promising young center back of his generation.
Well, then he went to Juventus, and I mean,
Bayern,
Bayern, Juventus
crashed out.
Crashed out.
Why would you go to Juventus to play behind Bonucci and Chiellini?
Maybe they'll learn from them. I don't think it's that crazy. I feel like he's regressed. He's regressed.
Yeah. No.
Okay, Marmouche, 168.5 at 10.5 points per game. Damn.
I think he gets better.
Better?
Yeah.
Do you think he plays enough to be?
I think he plays.
So do you think Pep's going to totally change his system and have is Marmouche coming off the left? Do you think he's going to play almost like two strikers,
he's gonna,
old school?
No, look, Pep's going to go inverted back wing backs where they play center back and the center backs move up the middle. That's what he's going to do.
Whoa, that's a bold move.
The reason I think Marmouche is going to get better because Doku and Savio, they just play on the wings, whereas Marmouche has played up top, number 10 on the wing. So I think Marmouche is going to be playing a lot more. And he scored goals, whereas Savio and Doku don't score as many goals.
They don't score as many goals. Yeah. I think that's fair. I think it's fair to assume that. I was pretty impressed with how quickly he adjusted to the Premier League.
Right away.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But it takes players a lot of time usually. Okay, then Amadou Onana, Aston Villa midfielder. He was really good at Inter when he was there, but
bit of the same.
Yeah.
Whatever. Do you think a year without Champions League will help him be a little bit of a better player?
No.
You guys, no interest.
No interest. That's just me though. Maybe Tico.
He was such a.
He had a great start.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was going to be like a goal scoring midfielder for a minute, just like a lot of those set pieces and stuff like that, because that's what he did at the beginning of the season, and it just didn't really happen after that.
It's what it is.
All right, that's all we got. Anything else you guys want to chat about?
Of course, the jersey that I'm wearing is Luka Modric.
Oh, that was. I wasn't crying.
Yo, this is the most emotional I've ever gotten. I did not expect them to give him the guard of honor, and then to see Toni Kroos at the end give him a hug. Goosebumps. Oh man, sucks, sweet. Man.
One of the best of all time.
One of the best of all time.
Tottenham legend, Real Madrid legend.
He was great at Tottenham.
Croatia legend.
Amazing.
Croatia legend. Ended the streak of Messi and CR7 winning the Ballon d'Ors.
So he's just a football legend then.
He is. He's a legend.
Beloved by everyone. I feel like he's one of those no-haters kind of players.
No one really hates Modric.
No. Mourinho brought him the first year. Spain said he's the worst signing of the year. Not in Real Madrid, of all of La Liga. He got the worst signing because at the time they had Ozil, Kaká, Di Maria. They got rid of everyone. 6 Champions League. 6 fucking Champions League. It's crazy. Captain Grace, amazing player.
Do you think he continues to play, or is he hanging up his boots?
No,
I think he's done.
So
or
initially,
he plays in Croatia.
from what I read, is Alonso wanted him to stay. He wanted to stay. He was even willing to take less money. But I think you come at an age where you need to move on from like the older generation, because just the pressure from the media and everyone else to play him if something doesn't go well. So I've read rumors where MLS, including Inter Miami, and I also read that he might Saudi has interest. But from what I read is he doesn't want to move his family to Saudi. No one can blame him. Has 2 kids. So MLS looks more likely. Dude, even the players that came, like Kovacic came to support him. Obviously, the Croatian ties, former Real Madrid player. Obviously, everyone posted. A lot of people came. It was just the outside the boot pass. Oh my god!
All right, we're good. We're done. You done your little rant? Let's close up, Keith.
This has been episode 90 of Draft Offsides. My name is Keith. I'm with Tuco and Enzo. Follow us at Draft Offsides. We are going to be doing some content throughout the offseason, and then we'll really ramp it up coming into draft season next year. But we'll try and stick around and do some stuff now and again.
Sounds like fun.
And also, if we say something about Messi, doesn't mean you should tell us we should die.